Every one of us one day visit a lot of Egyptian temples. And when you visit the Egyptian temples, you feel with different feelings. For example, when you visit Phila Temple of Isis, the feeling there, feeling with love, feeling with protection, feeling with intuition. So, from where this feeling came to us. And if you visit Dendera Temple, for example, you will feel from the first moment you enter inside the temple with mercy, calm, acceptance, harmony, joy. So, from where this feeling came to you. And if you change the temple, for example, if you visit Karnak Temple, in this case, you were feeling well exchange. You will feel with powerful appearance, greatness, charismatic feeling, powerful feeling, and all the feeling of appearance, radiant, power, energy, and all this kind of feeling. But when you visit another one, Luxor temple, for example, you're feeling exchange to deep spiritual feeling. Feel that you make deep journey inside yourself. Something related with theology, something related with metaphysics, something related with hidden energy manifested within you. And in the same cases, inside different temples. So, why I feel inside each temple with different feeling? The answer here is stand behind the sacred building that you visit, the temple itself. The principles that the ancient Egyptians follow to select the location, to select the axe, to select the dimension of the temple, to select the decoration of the temple, to select everything around this sacred building. So this is the key word behind the different energy of each temple. So if you want to understand the secret of each temple, if you wanted to receive the power of each temple, you have to understand the principles, the pillars that the Egyptians follow when they select the location, select the axe, select the alignment with the astronomy, and you have to understand the mysteries behind each temple. In this lecture, we will introduce a general introduction. It speaks about the sacred power of all temple in ancient Egypt. We will start the first topic in our lecture about who responsible for select the location, axe, dimension, and everything around the building itself. When the king decided to build a temple for one of the god names and energies, he commanded a specific team of priestess and priestesses. This specific team, the priestess of Sishat, goddesses Sishat, the lady presented in the relief on the walls of temples with a star in her head and wearing the skin of jaguar. So she is the goddess Sishat. The goddess Sishat and the priestess of Sishat responsible for building, architect, golden ratio, responsible for examination of energetic lines, responsible for the energy inside precious stones, responsible for astronomy and select the best location aligned with the best astronomy and best constellation in the sky. So the builder of the Egyptian temples, only the priestess of goddesses Sishat, the scientist and architect, sacred geometry, golden ratio, scientist in astronomy and a lot of kind of science. So they able to mix all this 7 sacred science to build some place bombed with energy all the time, eternal. But if you see any ancient Egyptian temple, if you meditate inside the shape that all the ancient Egyptian temple take, you will find that all the Egyptian temple take the shape of rectangular shape. You don't found any triangle shape, for example, a square shape, for example, but all the temples take rectangular shape. This is a golden ratio part of the Egyptian temples. So let's speak about the element of each temple, the golden ratio behind each temple, the aligned of each temple with astronomy, and how you make energetic path visiting inside each temple of Egyptian temples. Firstly, the temples in ancient Egypt has an ancient name, and the ancient Egyptian name of the temple is very, very important to know. The temple in ancient Egypt called Berba. Berba. And the meaning of Berba, the houses of the soul. Houses of the souls. So an ancient Egyptian had to seek other divine power within themselves, learning more and gain deeper understanding of their various divine attributes and capabilities. So this was achieved by studying the deities, their qualities, and their diverse name, and by discovering how to draw from Supreme Creator the attributes and power needed to navigate life. In line with this principle, the ancestor established centers dedicated to teach theological, behavioral, and spiritual practices, as well as performing rituals and invocation essential for aiding individuals in developing their awareness and improving both their material and spiritual life. This building were referred to by the ancestors as Berba. So the temple was not only for worship, was not only for prayer, but the temples in ancient Egypt was houses for the soul, houses to learn the people, learn the visitor, a lot of things related with the God, related with their selves, were related with their souls, their divine force manifested within themselves. So this is the ancient name and this is the meaning. Berba in ancient Egypt, the house of spirits, refer to the place where the human soul is nourished with the energy of divine, allowing the soul to shine and express itself. Because there, inside the temples, you will learn a lot of principles, and each temple has its own 7 principles to activate the divine energy within you. For example, if you visit Phila Temple through the sacred design of the temple, you will receive 7 principles of Isis. If you practice the 7 principles of Isis that you receive through your tour inside the temple, you will find your life more success, more happy, more guidance for every success. Your suffer will disappear. Your struggling will disappear, and so on. For example, another temple, if you visit Hathor Temple at Dendera, another different 7 sacred principles of Hathor to activate the energy of Hathor inside yourself. And if you practice the 7 teachings of Hathor that you receive through your tour inside Dendera Temple, you will find yourself more happy, more joy, and everything will be better. Another temple, through visiting Karnak Temple, you will receive another 7 sacred principles to activate the energy of Ra inside yourself. And if you practice these principles in your daily life, you will activate the energy of Ra and you will receive powerful in your life. You will build your charismatic character. You will be like a hero in yourself, in your life, and you will be a hero in the life of others. So each temple has principles. Each temple has own principles. Each temple related with different name of the names, several names of the god. Also, the temples in ancient Egypt called Hutneter, another ancient name, refer to the Egyptian temple. Hutneter means the place that contain and manifest the sacred divinity. So this is the ancient names, and the ancient names hold ancient divine principles and so on. From this perspective, our ancestors started to build a lot of berba, a lot of houses of spirits, a lot of Hutneter, a lot of temples. And each temple dedicated to one of the Egyptian divine names. Each temple express a principles of one of the divine names. So, specialized of temples were established to explain, simplify, and teach spiritual rituals, practices aimed at acquiring various divine qualities. For example, Berba Ammon, the temple of Luxor, the place where we learn about the sacred energy of the spirit that rises within us and everything in the universe, and how to renew and activate this divine energy within ourselves to make what we call today the law of attraction. So, our ancestors hold the secret principles of law of attraction inside the secret building of Luxor Temple. So once you visit this temple, once you received the principle of Ammon, you will discover the Egyptian style to activate law of attraction, to create their life. A second example, Ber Betah, the temple of the god Betah at Giza, near to Saqqara. The remains of this temple today located what we called Memphis Museum. Memphis Museum. There, the temple of Petah, the place where explore the divine creative energy that shapes the universe in its most beautiful form. It teaches us how to discover this creative power within ourselves and how to activate and use it to develop our reality. Berbera, the temple of Karnak today, the place where we study the divine energy of presence, manifestation, character, diplomatic, charismatic. It guides us on how to harness this energy to build a strong, charismatic, successful, diplomatic personality. So the Temple of Ra is the best, uh, the best location, the best place you have to visit if you search, if you study, if you work in the field of public speaking, the field of teaching other, and so on. Berba Sekhmet, a small chapel located inside Karnak Temple. This place where we learn about the divine energy of support and heal, which save us when illness strike or when we face injustice. It also teaches us how to heal ourselves and restore balance in our life. So each temple has some divine principles. Berba Hathor, the temple of Dendera, the place where we connect with the divine energy of mercy, love, harmony, and the balance of giving, the receiving. By activating these energies in our life, we create a life filled with joy and happiness. So, what is the seven principle of Hathor manifested inside her temple at Dendera? That what you will discover through your spiritual journey inside the temple, and the secret principles you will find it in the relief on the walls. Berba Osiris, the temple of Abydos, the place where we cultivate the energies of integrity, virtue, and stability, which grant us an eternal legacy in this world and lead us to paradise in afterlife, known as the field of Yarrow in ancient Egyptian language. So there are another seven principles make you memorable one, make you eternal one in this life and other life. Berba thought, the god thought. The temple of El Ashmunin at Ilmenia, the place where we access divine knowledge and wisdom embodied in the law of universe, what we call today the Emerald Tablet of Thought, Hermes, as increased on the Emerald Tablets. This teaching help us strive toward becoming the best version of ourselves, to upgrade yourself. Also, we have Berba Isis, Phila Island, the place where we embrace the divine energy of guidance, intuition, enabling us to overcome suffering and life's challenges. It marks the beginning of our golden era of success, excellence, elevating us to position of great respect and admiration in heart and minds of others. So this is very important, very powerful principles we have to receive through visiting this temple. And I planning, inshallah, in the future, I will let you know my upcoming spiritual trips in the next tourism season in winter. I think maybe in next December or in January. So I will be happy if you join with me in the first spiritual journey, spiritual trips from south to the north, starting from Phila Island and ending in Giza pyramids. In these temples, all these temples, when the ancestors decided to build each one, they let the matter to the high priests of goddesses Sishat, the goddesses Sishat. Goddesses Sishat and the priestess of Shat decided to select the most energetic spots in the land of Egypt. And also they select the most and the best locations aligned with astronomy. Let's take some examples between temples and constellations. For example, Temple of Isis at Phila, completely aligned with very powerful constellation in the sky, the Canos Major constellation. Canos Major constellation, or what we called in other term, the Big Dog constellation, Big Dog constellation, or Canos Major constellation. And the brightest star in this constellation is the star of Sirius. So this is the location, and this is the powerful that Phila temple received his power. The temple of Phila received its power from this constellation. Another example, Temple of Thought at Ilmenia, completely aligned with other constellation. The constellation called today Rabbit constellation. Rabbit constellation. So this is the modern name of the constellation of that aligned with Temple of Thought. In ancient time, called Winut constellation. Winut constellation. And this constellation radiant with a kind of vibration, frequencies, work and act with our imagination, with our wisdom, with our learning and knowledge, divine knowledge. The temple of Osiris at Abydos, aligned with different constellation. In ancient Egypt, this constellation related to Corvus. Corvus or crow, the black bird, crow. And the black bird, crow, there are constellation called crow or Corvus with Latin language. Corvus constellation or crow constellation. Crow, one of the divine sacred birds of Osiris. And this constellation vibrate with kind of frequencies related with activating the feeling of eternity, feeling of memory inside ourselves. The temple of Hathor at Dandara, aligned with Virgo constellation. Virgo constellation, the constellation related to mercy, love, and so on. The temple of Sekhmet at Karnak, related to Sagittarius. Sagittarius. The temple of Ammon and the temple of Ra at Luxor, completely aligned with what we call handle of Big Dipper. Handle of Big Dipper. So each temple on the earth aligned with a constellation in the heaven. Edfu temple, for example, Edfu temple, the temple of Horus the Great, aligned with constellation in ancient Egypt called today Ara constellation. Ara constellation, or with different term called sacrificing constellation. Sacrificing constellation. So there are connection between the temples with the energy lines and the energy of constellations. So it's very, very important to know the sources that the temple receive the energy from land, from the earth, receive the energy from the astral world, and also receive the energy from the golden ratio and geometric design of the temple. And also each part and each element inside the temple has its own energy. So you have to understand, once you start your path inside the temple, you have to understand the name and the idea and the mission of each element inside the temple. For example, the two obelisks, the gate, the pylon, the courtyard, the holy hypostyle halls, the sanctuary itself, the side chambers of the temple. So each part in the temple has its spiritual effect on your consciousness once you visit. So the temple, the priestess of Sishat design the temple to make you take a direction and a specific path visiting inside the temple step by step. So you have to understand that. The temple administrator also, in the ancient time, each temple has a temple administrators. And the administrators called in general Hem-Netru. Hem-Netru, what we call today priestess of the temple. Priestess of the temple. So all those temples who worked in the institution known as houses of spirit, Egyptian temples, were collectively referred to Hem-Neter. Hem-Neter means the team who understand deeply, the team who understand deeply the activation way of ancient divine names, the team that help you, the team that guide you to activate the Egyptian and the divine name of the God within you, the team that guide you, help you to activate the divine sacred names within you. So we have a part of Hem-Netru known as Hem-Neter Winut. Hem-Neter Winut, those knowledgeable in astronomy, responsible for observing celestial movement. And this part of priestess help you to select the highest energetic nights, the highest energetic days, and the lowest energetic nights, and the most powerful days to celebrate, and how to make your daily activities and daily life aligned in a harmony with the movement of cosmic. So this is the first team. And this team, the famous team in this field was, this is very powerful knowledge, the powerful and the famous team in the field of astronomy was inside Dendera Temple. Was inside Dendera Temple. And one of the principle of Hathor to make yourself more harmony, more calm, more joy, more happiness, you have to align your daily life in a harmony with astronomy, in a harmony with cosmic. So we have a part to help us in this part, in this field. Another team from Hem-Netru, Hem-Neter Sem. Sem, a kind of priestess, knowledgeable, responsible for reading, reciting sacred texts. Help us, learn us how can we chant mantras, sacred prayers, sacred chanting to activate the different sacred energies of the God inside ourselves. Another team called Ghiri Hab, responsible for chanting sacred texts, offering hymns, guiding meditative practices. We have Sunu, a different team responsible for medical and healing practices. So we have a big administrator team inside each temple. You have to know also, and very important informations about the element and the architecture element of Egyptian temple and the spiritual energies of each part of the temple, from outside until the last visit in the temple, the sanctuary of the temple itself. Because through your visit, you will receive from each element of the temple one of the 7 principles. From your first step inside the temple, you will receive the principles until the 7th one, the last one, you will find yourself inside the sanctuary of the temple. So you have to visit the temple with the sacred way that our ancestors mapping. Okay, let's start to speak about this topic after we enter in the same link again to continue our lecture.